FoodTruckr School is now in session. This is episode 11. Let's go. What is up, Food Truckers? Pat Flynn here, your host, and I'm excited because this is the show that's going to help you take your food truck to the next level. Whether you're just getting started or you're a veteran in this business, this is a show for you. Today, our special guest is Tony Fumarolo, the owner of Rigatoni's. Love that name. Rigatoni's food truck in Fort Wayne, Indiana. He's going to talk to us about the life of a young food trucker and his decision to pursue entrepreneurship, his experience with the Indiana winter during his first few months. He had just opened his truck, and all of a sudden this crazy winter happens. How was he able to stay afloat? And what were some of his early challenges and his successes getting started? I'm so excited for this one. So let's welcome Tony from Rigatoni's. Tony, what's up, man? How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, you're a young guy. How old are you?
I'm 26 years old.
26. And how long have you had your food truck for?
We've had the food truck since last September.
Okay, so you're fairly new at this, and I just love this because I'm on your Facebook page right now, and I'll give all the links at the end and stuff. But I'm seeing a lot of great reviews for your trucks. I have people talking about how much they're craving, chicken parmesans and all that stuff that you have to offer. So I want to get into just really quick. How did you get started with your food truck? Where did the idea come from?
The idea originated actually from going to a food truck festival here in Fort Wayne. It was the first big one here in Fort Wayne called FoodTruckr. And that was 2 years ago now, so October of 2012. And I went there, and the event itself was an absolute disaster. It was a mess. They were handing out tickets. There were too many people. The lines were hours long. Me and my girlfriend waited in line for, I don't even know how long, to get the very last of what one of the trucks in town had. And it was delicious. But it just showed me that there was a demand out there. And the idea got in my head when my girlfriend said, "Hey, it'd be really cool to have a food truck." I think that'd be awesome. And it stuck. They say ideas are super contagious, and I guess I just couldn't shake that one.
And then a year later, you had your truck. What was that like to finally open your truck?
It was awesome. The process itself, like everything, you're going to run into roadblocks and going to go through some hoops and hurdles to make it there. So it was definitely the payoff of opening up was incredible.
That's so cool. What were some of those roadblocks you encountered when trying to get your truck up and running?
Just general stuff like getting the truck built on time, getting things going, financing, all of that stuff. Just back end stuff, a lot of stuff that you don't think about. Obviously, you guys have done a show on the health department and that kind of stuff, getting the approvals. Luckily here in Fort Wayne, it's pretty simple, and we have some really good people in our health department here who help us out. But it was just all of the stuff you don't really think about when you first think about food trucks. There's a lot of minutia there.
Yeah. Do you have any tips for anybody who's just getting started, or they have that idea like you did a couple years ago, and they want to get started? How would you help somebody brand new just kind of make sure they'll be okay during this process?
Getting started, it's basically just gathering information, data, tons of resources. There's great stuff out there now. Back when I was doing it, there was a little bit less. Now you have a great resource like FoodTruckr and some other sites out there that are really kind of digging into what it takes to start a truck. Just analyzing costs, menu items, analyzing exactly what you want in the truck. Really digging deep, writing a business plan. Get in there and really, really think about every little thing, because even when you do that, you'll overlook, 10, 10s and 20, things that you find out afterwards. You're like, oh man, right. I should have thought of that. I don't know why I didn't think of that when I was writing the business plan. So really get in there.
That's cool. Now talk about the brand, Rigatoni's. If you go to rigatonys.com, and I'll have all the links on the show notes, it's a fantastic looking truck wrap that you have on there. And I love the name. It's sort of like, like rigatoni pasta, but it's Rigatoni's after your name. What made you decide to go Italian? And then how from there did you craft your menu?
Yeah. So I grew up eating my grandmother's food, and all the recipes are just her recipes that we've turned into street food. So I've taken her sauce and put it on, a chicken parm, and put it on, the shells and the meatball and all that, and it's basically just condensing it down into a more mobile way to eat it. And that's kind of where the Italian thing originated. My last name is Fumarolo, so it's pretty Italian.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was where the idea came from. It's just we had these great recipes that we wanted to share, so we started writing a business plan, and it stuck. We couldn't get out of our heads.
That's cool. Who designed the logo and the sort of branding? Because it's done very well.
Yeah, a local guy here in town. His name is Sean Malinowski. Plug for Sean. Good Stuff Design Co. They're the best. He does amazing work. He actually did another truck in town here. Shout out to Bravis. And that's where I saw, I loved his style, and I was like, hey, would you be willing to do another truck, another wrap? And he said, of course. So we were happy to get him.
That's cool. That's the first thing that caught my eye. And again, you can check out Rigatoni's at Rigatoni's Food Truck on Twitter, so make sure you follow them. If you're ever in the Fort Wayne area in Indiana, look them up or follow them, and I'm sure they'll tell you where they're at. Now, your menu items.
Quick correction for you. It's at Riggy Tees, RIGGYTS.
Oh,
on Twitter there.
Okay, sorry. No, I'm looking on. On your truck, I see F for Facebook. I read the Facebook one.
Yeah, you're fine.
Sorry, Twitter is at Riggy Tees, RIGGYTS. Is that correct?
Correct.
Sweet.
Yep.
Thank you. What are your best-selling items on the menu?
So far, our best seller by far is the chicken parm sandwiches. We can't keep them in stock long enough. Every time we go out, we carry more and more of them, but we just can't. They fly out of the truck like hotcakes. So it's been really great to kind of design a sandwich around basically a recipe that my grandma had, and kind of throw it into sandwich form and it'd be a big hit. That's
really cool. Like I bet sort of when you start a food truck, you really never know what the top sort of items might be. Maybe you might have an idea, but when you start to get a feel that your customers are liking one thing more than anything else, is there anything that you do to sort of highlight that product more, or like how do you treat that product differently after you find out it's sort of a top selling item? Do you maybe raise the price or even lower the price? How do you handle that?
Yeah, since we're still so new, I'm still figuring that out. Menu construction is actually really difficult. We originally thought that baked pastas would sell really well, especially since we were starting when it was getting a little colder. We thought that soups and baked pastas and stuff like that would sell really well, but people seem to want something really mobile, something really easy, and sandwiches seem to be really big. And so we do a lot of Italian sandwiches, hot Italian sausage and meatball subs. For the chicken parm, yeah, we kind of locked in the price. We like where it's at. It's a really big portion, and we like to keep a modest price for a lot of food. So we're kind of set there at the $7 price range.
Cool. Yeah, I mean that sounds great. I'm ready to have one right now, actually. Now, you had mentioned, a cold sort of winter that you guys went through, and I mean, we all know in the U.S. here we've had a nasty winter, at least for everybody on the East Coast and mid-country. How did you guys? Did you just close up shop for the winter? Like, how does that work in a very cold area to keep business running? What did you do?
Yeah, it's actually that it's been a huge challenge. Obviously, we got a late start, not until September. We wanted to be open a little earlier than that, to catch a little bit more of the summer, to get our feet wet. We worked pretty much all the way through the winter. We took off a big portion of January just because there was so much snow on the ground and we couldn't get the truck out. It might have made more sense for us to maybe shut her down for a little bit longer, but we really wanted to get the name out there. Mm-hmm. And I was getting antsy sitting around. So we've been braving the cold, 20-degree days, and it's a nightmare on the truck. You gotta really watch, the water system freezing, just little things. It's all about, like I said, the minutia. You gotta make sure you have everything insulated properly and everything really, really taken care of. The truck needs to be in really well working condition when you have it out in the cold elements like that.
Mm-hmm. Did you get your truck new, or was it used when you bought it?
It's a used truck. All the stuff in the back has been retrofitted and is brand new, so it's all brand new equipment in the back.
That's cool. Nice. Now, you had mentioned the winter, and that was a big challenge. And it's really cool to see that, we're sort of coming out of that winter now, and I bet you're super stoked for the next few months here because this is sort of prime time food truck season's coming up. But what are some other challenges since starting your truck that you've faced along the way, maybe that you could share that those of us just starting out can learn from your experience?
Yeah, so there's obviously, like I said, in the early going, you're going to hit roadblocks, just jumping through all the right hoops. But in the beginning here, the winter has really been the biggest challenge for us. You gotta, when you're going into it, when you're going into season and there's going to be a big cold period if you're in a cold weather area, you gotta expect the worst. And luckily we did have, a good plan going forward, to make it through the winter. But, it definitely was a long one. So that has been obviously the biggest challenge of just kind of fighting through the winter and getting our name out there while we're, not as many people on the streets. People aren't willing to wait outside. So, it's just finding the people, while have these cold months here doing catering gigs and stuff like that to kind of fill in the gaps.
That's cool. So on the other side of the coin, what has been the most rewarding experience, in the months that you've had your food truck?
Actually, today was a big rewarding experience. We were out at IPFW today, the college here in town, and it was the first day of spring, basically, for us. It was the first nice day we've had in 4.5 months-ish. So that was definitely really, really rewarding. We sold out of everything today. That just is a good feeling to get started here in spring. Obviously, there's been other things along the way, but the recency effect takes precedent here. So I'd say today was a big day for us.
That's really cool. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
I want to shift over to marketing and how you're sort of marketing your truck. It's really funny, actually. I'm just on your Facebook page now, and there's a post by a guy named Dustin who said he heard you on ESPN Fantasy Focus Baseball podcast. Tell us about that really quick.
Yeah, so I'm a big avid baseball fan, and I'm also a big fantasy player. I play fantasy baseball, and I listen to the fantasy baseball podcast, the ESPN podcast, and they were talking about in one episode, somebody from Fort Wayne wrote in, and then the email directly after the Fort Wayne email was about a chicken parm sandwich. So it was too much. I had to write in. It was the first time I've ever wrote into any podcast. And I wrote it, and they read the email on the air. And the guy even accepted the challenge of going vegetarian for a week to have the sandwich renamed after him. And that's going on right now. He's just finishing up, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I've never heard of, I know that maybe wasn't intentional for marketing, but I that's the first thing I noticed when I was on your Facebook page. Maybe there's something that a lot, because we're always trying to look at other ways to promote our trucks and our businesses. And I think, podcasting is starting to become a big thing now. A lot of people are listening to podcasts. Before, you asked people a year ago, they didn't even know what a podcast was. And next year, they're actually going to implement devices in cars, BMW and I think Toyota as well, that will automatically play podcasts. So if you could get on podcasts, or maybe even have a podcast of your own, or do kind of like what you did and get on some really popular shows in one way or another, and use your truck to help do that, that could be a cool and fun and interesting way to get a little bit of promotion.
Yeah, I've actually really dug into the world of podcasts just because of how well it goes with owning a food truck. You're doing a lot of prep in the kitchen, and you're doing a lot of stuff where you're using your hands and you need to be paying attention. But the one thing you can do is listen to stuff. So I just find things that I'm interested in. For example, the FoodTruckr podcast, fantasy baseball stuff, love stuff about, movies, music, listen to a lot of sports stuff as well. Video games when I get the chance, which is very rarely. I like to sit down and play some video games.
Yeah. What's your game?
Right now, Dark Souls 2 is what's in the
nice.
PS3.
Nice.
But I mean, I'm an old school gamer too. I love NES. I still have an FC Twin, so I bring out Mario 3 every once in a while and get on that.
Oh, classic! Love it. That's so cool. A couple more questions, if you don't mind, Tony. What has been working really well for you, marketing wise? Like, what has been maybe your one or two top strategies, or what has been giving you the most publicity so far?
In terms of marketing stuff, it really, and I know it's cliche, but it's really all word of mouth. I mean, social media now, and I know you've talked about it a little bit on the podcast, but especially Facebook, it's really hard just to get any traction, just because Facebook's implemented a lot of new stuff where they're showing a certain percentage of your posts and stuff like that. So we really focus on customer service and just making sure that everybody at the truck has the best experience they can. We give out, reward card kind of thing, punch cards, and just tell people, hey, come back, somebody about us. And we try to make every experience, as special as it can be, so they hopefully tell at least one other person about us.
Yeah. Do you try to get people's names and go that far?
Yeah, I do. It gets hard, especially when people come back and are like, "Oh, you remember me?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, of course." You don't want to.
I've had like 2,000 other customers since you, but
yeah,
that's cool. I mean, I think every little bit of experience, in addition to just getting the food and eating it, is going to be helpful for making your truck stand out. I mean, you've heard me talk about that before several times, and word of mouth is the one thing that I've heard everybody who I've spoken to who owns a food truck say is probably the most valuable thing. Yes, there's Twitter, yes, there's Facebook and all these other things. And Facebook, like you said, is just implementing all these things that are forcing us to pay more money to show our updates to fans who have already said they wanted to see our updates. I don't get it. But that user experience that they have when they're at your truck, that's what gets people to share your truck with other people, and what gets people to come back. And I love the idea that you're using loyalty cards. I don't see enough trucks here in San Diego using loyalty cards, and hopefully that's something that's gonna pick up real soon. So Tony, this has been fantastic. I want to thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy, and just best of luck to you and the truck and the upcoming season. And, if there's anything we over here at foodtruckr.com can do for you, just please let us know. And I think I can speak for everybody out there listening. Just thank you so much for the value that you provided, and for just being awesome. And, if you're ever in Fort Wayne, Indiana, check out Rigatoni's. They got some, I can't wait to dive into one of those sandwiches.
Yeah, please come check us out if you're in town. I thank you so much, Pat, for having us on. I started listening to the podcast on day one, and it's actually been a huge help. Obviously, I'm still in learning mode, so every day is an adventure, and we're getting better every day.
That's so awesome. I just got the goosebumps when you said that. I mean, that's why we do this show. So, I mean, that means a lot to me, Tony. And again, we're here for you and everybody else out there who's starting their food truck journey. Tony, if you want to give us all the web properties and where we could find out more information about you and your truck, feel free to just spill it out right now.
Yeah, plug us on here. We'll go for it. On Twitter, it's at RiggyTs, which is RIGGYTS. Facebook /Rig Tony's Food Truck, all one word. Tony with a Y, so RIGATONYS Food Truck. And then the website is www.rig-a-tonys.com. Come check us out. We'd love to have you. Tell us that you heard us on the podcast, and I'll give you a free pudding of the day.
Nice.
If you tell us you came by from the FoodTruckr podcast.
Nice. Thank you for that, Tony. And I'll be sure to put all those links in the show notes, foodtruckr.com/11 for episode 11. Tony, thank you again so much, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Pat.
All right. Thank you all for listening to that episode. Again, that's Tony Fumarolo from Fort Wayne, Indiana, the owner of Rigatoni's. Go ahead and check him out. That's rig-a-tonys.com. You can get all the social media information there as well. Thank you again, Tony, for joining us today. You are amazing. Thank you for listening to the show. And if you have a food truck, if you have a food truck out there, you're listening to this right now, and you'd like to come on and tell your story, email me, pat@foodtruckr.com, and we'll get you hooked up. We love hearing these beginning stories, and anything that you might feel like would help anybody who's just starting out in this industry. It would be completely helpful. We'd love to feature your truck as well, and hopefully send people your way. Thank you again. Now, last thing I want you to do is head on over to iTunes and leave us an honest rating and review. That goes so long. I mean, that goes such a long way for us in terms of helping us understand what we can do to improve, or if we're doing a good job. It just really motivates us to get any sort of rankings and ratings, and just to hear from you, the Food Trucker audience, those of you listening to FoodTruckr School. And feel free to leave your truck URL there as well. We want to hear who is leaving these comments and this amazing feedback for the show. But yeah, just head on over to iTunes on your mobile device or wherever you're at, laptop, desktop. Leave a rating for FoodTruckr. We would love you for it. Thank you so much. And we'll see you in the next episode of FoodTruckr School. Again, don't forget to go to foodtruckr.com to get more information. We're running a really great series right now on how to start your food truck, which even if you've already started your food truck, it might be good to make sure that you're getting all the foundational stuff correct so that you can better serve your audience, which is what this is all about. So thank you so much. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace.